Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Fire Up Florida. I'm in a room where definitely my voice definitely echoes, and pleased to be joined by my longtime colleague Daniel Alveraz. Thanks for doing this.
No, thank you, Scott. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So, all right, let's get to it, Daniel. Why don't you give everyone an overview of who you represent and how long you've been doing it for and what you do?
Yeah, so I represent El Extrabase.com, which is an outlet dedicated to cover baseball here in South Florida. We cover baseball in general, but also focus on Latin players, mostly the Venezuelan players, and not only Major League Baseball, but the Caribbean leagues in Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and whatever other players are doing in Asia or whatever baseball is played.
I see you all over the place. I really do. If anybody promotes Latin baseball better, please find him because this guy is everywhere. What are your thoughts about being able to promote Latin baseball throughout not only North America but worldwide?
I take a lot of pride in it because baseball, you can't tell the history of baseball without the Latin players, right?
Right.
And everything they've done all over the years since the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, with so many legends that we've had all over, throughout the history of the game. Many of them in the Hall of Fame, and many of them being the faces of baseball right now. So I take a lot of pride in it, especially with the Venezuelans one because I'm from Caracas, Venezuela. So I love talking about and representing all the Latin players out there, and that's something that, as I mentioned, I take a lot of pride in it.
We're going to talk about Marlins talk past and present. Before we do that, the Marlins obviously are entertaining the Athletics. No, not the Oakland A's yet, let alone the Las Vegas A's soon. But what are your thoughts about the athletic situation in general? Let's face the reality. They had a lot of years to get it right in Oakland. They never got it right. So I don't think it's any surprise that they finally lost the team. But why don't you just go ahead and give an overall assessment of the athletic situation in its entirety?
Yeah, 100%. And I also have to say that this is on MLBs as well, because you as an organization, being a top tier league in the country and always pointing and going towards excellence, you cannot be playing in a minor league ballpark for 3 years, right? I mean,
Right.
that's something that it just doesn't seem right. I know that they've made their efforts to stay in Oakland, and I don't know if they were real efforts at all,
Right.
and that's something that it really surprised me that even the MLBPA allowed it because one of the main reasons of why these guys are up here is because they don't want to play in minor league ballparks.
Right.
So and they're doing it now 81 nights a year. So it's a weird situation. It's a sad situation, obviously, for the people in Oakland. We've seen how loyal those fans were. I know that the previous years were not that good with the team not competing. It's hard to be involved with an organization when they after a few years of having great players, they trade them all away,
Right.
and they have to start rebuilding again. So it's been difficult. I hope they can figure it out soon, because I don't like to see Major League Baseball being played in a minor league stadium. I know that, for example, the Rays situation is different because of the hurricane and everything happening.
Right.
Without any notice, you never want things like that to happen, but it's something that it just can't be happening.
Yet the fact that the A's are still competing right now,
Right. It's remarkable.
yeah, I mean the manager and the fact that they've even spent money.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't surprise me because of two things. They gotta build something good for whenever they go to Las Vegas. You cannot be there. You're gonna go there with a rebuilding team. You need to have stars for the long term. So extending Brent Rooker, extending Lawrence Butler, having Luis Severino, Mason Miller, Jacob Wilson. I mean, so many good players that they have right now. It's going to be significant, but also at Oakland or the A's, those are one of the teams that get money from the revenue sharing plan.
Right.
And if they don't spend it, they were close to getting a grievance from the MLBPA, which is it's something that the Marlins could be facing in the future. We just don't know how that's going to look. But they also avoided that by investing that money in those players.
So, do you really think that the Athletics can survive in Las Vegas?
Let's see. I don't know. I think they might have a chance. Yeah, especially if they're winning at the beginning. I think that could build a good fan base there, but also having people interested in going to Vegas to watch those games could be really good. I just don't know how successful it's going to be in terms of attendance for a whole year. Even though they have tourism all year long, how many of those tourists really want to go and watch baseball, right? I mean, you go to Vegas to play in the casino or whatever, and it's different from football or hockey or like women's basketball that they won recently, because you don't have 81 games a year in those leagues. So that's going to be the challenging part. But if they're winning from the beginning, I think they can survive.
Isn't it amazing how Vegas has snapped all the Oakland teams?
Right? Yeah, it's with the Raiders, with now the A's. It's it's sad to see, but it's let's see how it goes. And also, they have the Formula One race now in Vegas for I don't know 10 more years. So yeah, it's getting interesting there.
Yeah, I'm not the kind of customer Vegas wants, because when I got tired of gambling, I didn't like to lose a lot. And all my winnings always went to souvenirs. But what I would do is I'd go to the Grand Canyon, Hoover Dam, Laughlin, Bullhead City, and drive. But I'm not one of those guys. So maybe the only chance that they have is if they're losing, let's just go over to the baseball game, take a break, and lose even more. But you touched on the Tampa Bay Rays situation. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but their lease is running out. And I've been hearing stories coming out lately that the Orlando Dreamers and Rob Manfred are getting a little bit more involved. Do you think that it's eventually, at some point, if Tampa doesn't get it figured out in St. Petersburg, that the Rays could be going down I-4?
Yeah, that would be a shame, because I love that St. Pete area. One of my favorites, of course, and
Right.
the Tampa area as well. You know it very well. But I think it would be good to have a team in Orlando if the Rays can figure it out. There's a lot of baseball being played in Orlando, all over in Florida, and that's why Manfred wants two teams to stay here. The Marlins can move until 2050 something, so they're gonna be here for a while. But with the Rays situations, Orlando could be a real possibility. The Orlando Dreamers project seems like a legit one. Which is something that I had my doubts when I saw the first couple of designs years ago, but this is looking legit. So I think it would be great if they go to Orlando. I think it should be in a place where it's kind of central between the downtown and the theme parks, but I think it could be a really good project.
All right, we'll shift our focus over to the Miami Marlins. First of all, the question I've always wondered about is, I know that it's a beautiful ballpark here at Lone Depot Park. Do you think that they gave every effort to try to get it in a more central location before they wound up here?
I mean, I think this was a good location to begin with, but I think that maybe some Broward County fans didn't like it, because the team basically was born close to Broward. So I know they kind of miss him. I think they can do a better job by bringing those fans down from Broward to the stadium. I know they're doing now with what they're doing with the Brightline and other stuff, but I think that this is a good place to be.
All right, let's have some more fun with this. Don Mattingly, does he belong in the Hall of Fame? Have you ever been to Cooperstown?
I went to Cooperstown last year, in May of last year, to Old Timers game event where they were honoring the Negro Leagues, and we had many African American players playing there, with Ken Griffey and Sissy Sabathia, and we saw many guys, and that day it was a really special event. I loved Cooperstown, loved seeing the plaques of Luis Aparicio or Roberto Clemente, David Ortiz, all the Latin Hall of Famers. And yes, I do believe that Donnie belongs in the Hall of Fame. I think it's been a long overdue. I hope he gets his chance this coming winter with the committee. So yeah, I think he belongs, and this might be his year.
I dumped a lot of money into Cooperstown. I'll get into that privately, but one of the statues I ended up getting was a Don Mattingly Hydro Stone. I said, you better one of these days make it worth my while, and him and I are good friends of today. Yeah, so give me your thoughts of Don Mattingly as a manager.
I think he did a great job as a manager, both in LA and Miami. I know that maybe he would trade, because I asked him this one time, he would trade one of his MVP trophies or All-Star trophies or whatever for a World Series. I think he got very close with LA. I think he did a great job here. He went through so many things in this organization, starting with a winning project that obviously was cut short. Obviously, we had the Jose Fernandez tragedy, then the rebuild, but he was able to make it to the playoffs in a very difficult season in 2020 with all the COVID stuff happening. And I'm pretty sure that many of the players that played for Donnie will have some of that leadership going forward in his careers, and will be able to pass it along other young players. And that's how his legacy will stay. I see guys like Miguel Rojas. He's a tremendous leader, and I know that he learned a lot from Donnie, or Jazz Chisholm in New York. Jazz was one of Donnie's favorite players, and I know that he had a huge impact on him. And yes, that's something that I really miss, having Donnie around. And I'm pretty sure that many players miss him, and that he left his mark in many of those players.
Well, I enjoyed our media availabilities with him. There wasn't a day that I ever learned about baseball. And when I got sick with a lot of my concussion issues, he's a great friend of mine as we speak, and he was always more helpful with moral support. A few other things I want to get to, because this is really good stuff with you. I want to get it while we have a shot. Give me some insights as to why you think Derek Jeter left.
I think Derek left because he had some ideas, and I think that the organization was going in a different direction. I think it had a lot to do with that. Maybe it would sound like Derek wanted to do more stuff here, like signing bigger stars or stuff like that. But the reality is that this is a very complicated market, and you can say, I wanna have, like, I'll put this example for Alex Travasa. I can say that I have the biggest studio to record my podcast, or have the world best travel budget, right? And don't have it because we just don't have that yet. And I can go to my partners and say, hey, I want this, and then go out into the media and say, hey, I wanted to do this, but they didn't want to. It's not that they didn't want to, it's that they couldn't do it. Right. So I think he had many different ideas, and the organization in general wanted to do other stuff. I know that he brought a lot of people from New York, which was okay, but not because he worked in New York, it means that it's going to work here. Right. And I think that now seeing the project with Peter Bendix and how the culture of the organization has changed or switched in a different direction, I think that's really good. And I for sure we're missing some of Derek's leadership and how classy he is, but I think the organization is in a better place now than what he left.
Let's talk about the overview of the 2024 season. What do you expect in 25?
I expect to see a team that is going to compete hard, like they did, for example, in last night's game. That was a thrilling one. I think they have a great manager in Clayton McCullough. He's similar to, has a profile similar to Donnie in terms of how he approaches the young players and how he would handle a clubhouse. So I really like that. I think he has a great coaching staff. This morning we talked to Joe Singley, the catching coach, and Joe is a fantastic guy. They're very young. The whole coaching staff it's very young, and I like to see that. So I think that we can expect a very young team that is gonna compete and is gonna fight on every game. They might not make it to the playoffs, but they're gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, I noticed that about Clayton McCullough myself. I got 3 good questions in and talked to him privately for a few minutes. His baseball mind did remind me a lot of Don Manning.
Yeah.
He's a lot smarter than most people think.
Absolutely. I mean, he's been a baseball lifer. He never made it to the big leagues as a player, but has a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience as a coach. He played a huge role in player development in the Toronto Blue Jays organization, but also in the LA Dodgers organization. So he knows a bit of everything, player development, coaching in the big leagues, being on winning teams. Like he recently won the World Series with the Dodgers in 24. So he can bring a lot to the table. So it's a very interesting guy, and I think they're gonna do really well with Clayton at the helm.
Well, it's good that he did win a World Series in 2024 because he can bring that element to what he's doing.
100%.
So where do they need to upgrade?
I would say they need health in the pitching staff. That's going to be the most important thing. Obviously, some depth for the bullpen. Maybe improve with a couple of bats, but I like what I'm seeing from Kyle Stowers. Like what I'm seeing from Javier Sanoja. Like what I'm seeing from Connor Norby. Xavier Edwards as well. I know they have a couple of minor leaguers that are, whenever they come up, they're going to be doing a really good job. Maximo Acosta is one of the guys that I'm most looking forward to see whenever he comes up. So I think they just need to keep developing. But yeah, add a couple of more arms to the bullpen and keep the rotation healthy so they can have that depth for the future.
When I bring up these names, Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, Luis Alvarez, Kim Ng, Skip Schumacher, what are the first things that come to your mind?
Playoffs. 23. Pablo obviously was the main piece that he gave away to bring Luis Arraez. But Sandy, Cy Young, the horse, El Caballo, the leader of this organization. I obviously rooting for him to put everything together so he can be at an elite level as we're used to see him. Arraez, the best pure contact hitter in baseball. Pablo, one of the best human beings I ever met, and he's a great pitcher, and he's even a better person, which is, speaks volumes of who he is as a human being. Kim, a great professional, a trailblazer, a pioneer. I miss her a lot here, of course. Someone really great to talk to and learn from. And same with Skip Schumacher, a great leader that, having Skip here for this group was really good as well. That playoff run doesn't happen without Skip.
Do you think that Ng and Schumacher may have gotten a little bit of a raw deal with the organization?
I think it was kind of, I don't know if unfair would be the word, but I think they deserve more.
Okay.
But obviously they're great baseball people, great baseball minds that are doing well in what they're doing right now. Kim running the softball professional league,
right.
and Skip will be a manager soon enough. But he can do whatever he wants in this game. He's working in an office right now with the Texas Rangers. He's gonna coach Team USA next year for WBC.
Right.
I was telling him that I texted him a few weeks ago, telling him congratulations, but also that in Venezuela we want revenge for that game here in the quarterfinals with, what happened with Trey Turner hitting that grand slam. But I think they deserve more. I wish we could have them longer, but it's business.
We'll continue with the Marlins, and we're going to end it on some really good stuff, okay? Not that this all hasn't been good, but I'm going to feed in your Latin stuff, so get ready. Yeah. So we'll continue with the Marlins theme. We talked about Peter Bendix, Clayton McCullough. To me, the one thing I'm trying to be able to see is whether or not they can shake the stigma of a fire sale into a legitimate, bona fide rebuild with a sustainable situation. Do you think that Peter Bendix and Clayton McCullough represent the best opportunity to shake the Marlins stereotype of what used to be?
Yeah, I think they do. And especially we have to consider now that this is the first actual year of Bendix fully in control. Right. And what I mean by this is that even last year he had people that he inherited from the previous GMs or the previous regime. And I would say he doesn't like to call it this way, but this is his team now. So I think that we're gonna see them trying to build a sustainable winner, a consistent winner. I don't know how that's gonna look like, but I believe they're doing their best effort to maintain that and not be a constant rebuilder. Let's
talk about Mark Sherman, the owner. What are your impressions of him?
Of who?
The owner of the club.
Oh, for Bruce Sherman?
Bruce Sherman, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, Bruce, let's put it this way. Bruce wants to win. At his age, I think that's the thing he wants the most. Obviously, it doesn't seem like the wealthiest owner as there are in baseball, but I think that whenever he sees the right chance to go and spend big, he will do it. He's shown that in the past with the signings of Avi Garcia, the extension of Sandy Alcantara. So he's not that he's not gonna spend. I think he's just gonna spend wisely now whenever he sees a great chance to do it, because obviously, aside from Sandy and his extensions, the other real extensions or signings that they have made from the free agency have not been good at all.
Right.
We talk about James Segura, we talk about Tim Anderson, even Cal Control now not doing great. Avisal Garcia wasn't a great contract either, and they're still paying that contract. So, I think that whenever he sees a chance, he's going to do it because he's done it in the past. But I think he's just going to face it on a different way.
Do you think we'll see Sandy Alcantara here at the end of the year? I know there's talk that you might want to let him go when you get a high value. I would hate to see that the reigning Cy Young Award winner won't be here. We don't have any retired jerseys here. It would be nice to see one every once in a while.
Yeah, I just don't know, because I think he could be. If you would have asked me this at the beginning of the year, I would have said, 100%, absolutely.
Right.
But the way he's doing now, I just don't know. Maybe they'll wait a bit to see how he's doing and what type of value they can get from him. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone by August.
Okay, we'll mention a couple of young pitchers, and we're going to the Latin guys. Ready? I'll bring up these names. We talked about Kyle Stowers. What an incredible home run he had last night. But if I told you last night that strikeout that he ended up having, he had a good pitch, and I had a feeling that he would hit the game winner, let alone hit it. That was just anticlimactic.
Yeah, I would have not been surprised, because Kyle is a tremendous hitter. He's been the best hitter so far for this team. He's had some great moments, like the walk-off on opening day against the Pirates. But I saw him earlier this week go yard twice in a game in LA. On a day game against a tough pitcher, going oppo, sending the ball to half of the bleachers in Dodger Stadium in a day game. That's not easy to do. The other day, I think they were playing against Cincinnati here. The roof and the windows were open, and wind was blowing in from left field at 16 miles an hour, and he hit an opposite field homer in this ballpark, which is not easy to do. So, not surprised at all with what he's doing. I think he's a great guy, great player as well, and we're seeing now who he really is.
Now, Xavier Edwards, I saw him record his first cycle in Milwaukee. He's an incredible player. We also have Dane Myers, who's a guy who's shown me a lot. The Tigers gave up on him, and he seems like he's doing well here. And so what are your thoughts on those guys? These guys look like a pretty good cornerstone. And can you mention any other ones that people should look out for?
Yeah, Xavier, I like his bat-to-ball skills. What he can do with his contact, with his speed, it's really good. Dane Myers is a great all-around player. Defensively, offensively, he can hit for power. He's made some of the most impressive catches I've seen in center field this year and the year before. I know that playing in the Dominican Republic has been really good for him. Playing winter ball there, and I like everything I see from Dane. I think he's learned, he's matured as a human as well, and as a player obviously, and that he's gonna be good for a long time here.
So some initial thoughts about Jazz Chisholm, who we mentioned a little bit, and Tanner Scott being traded.
I think it was necessary to do at the moment. We're seeing the Jazz trade brought Agustin Ramirez, the catcher, who has been killing it in his first 2 weeks in the majors. Pay attention to Jared Serna, who is a infielder, Mexican guy that came from the Yankees in that Jazz trade. He reminds me a lot of Edwards, reminds me a lot of Arraez in terms of bat-to-ball skills and how he can run. And with Tanner, those trades with the Padres were the Tanner Scott, the release of Arraez, and also Brian Hoeing going to San Diego were really good. And I think we're seeing the product now with Adam Mazur, with Robbie Snelling, Graham Pauley, and we're gonna see Jacob Marcy, Dylan Head, Nathan Martorella coming in the near future. So I think they did a great job in those trades, especially since the Padres were not signing Tanner for a long term. So whatever they got from that trade was really good. So yeah, sad to see them go, especially Tanner, but I know they're doing both great. They're in a position to win, but the Marlins got good pieces from those trades.
So if you had a chance to play in the World Baseball Classic, the Olympics, what is Daniel Alveraz taking?
I think that'll be with WBC. The Olympics, that'll be great as well. You know, there's nothing bigger in sports than the Olympics, right? But WBC, I know it would mean a lot for Venezuela to win it. So, yeah, I think WBC would be my choice.
Oh, I knew I was going to get you on that one. I knew you being an international guy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a couple of international names at you. Then you can give me your best ever, and then we'll ask you for your thoughts about Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. First of all, you saw Miguel Cabrera do some great things at Comerica Park. Tell me what it was like to be with Miguel Cabrera when he was celebrating those moments, and you think he's one of the best players you've ever seen.
One of the best players I've ever seen. Maybe the best right-handed hitter I've seen. It was really, really special, an honor, a privilege. Because I grew up with watching Miggy in Venezuela. You know,
Right.
when he made his debut in the big leagues, I was 6 years old. I remember watching him playing winter ball so much in Venezuela, in Caracas, and where he did so many great things. But being there for his 3,000 hits for his retirement was something surreal. I didn't think I was going to be able to be part of that when I was a kid. So to be there and be friends with him is something that you know, it's really very cool for me, and I don't think we've realized yet how honored we were to watch Miggy that close doing that stuff.
Albert Pujols, what's the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about him?
Well, in Miggy's words, he's the best right-hander hitter he's seen. So Pujols is obviously up there, right? Hall of Famer, arguably the greatest Latin player of all time. Obviously, with all due respect to Roberto Clemente, but 700 home runs, 3,000 hits. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that, right? So, yeah, true legend, true Hall of Famer.
When you talk about Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, obviously in New York, what are your thoughts of those guys?
Maybe the two best hitters of their generation, as a lefty and as a righty. Soto, just with how young he is, being able to do this, because that's when Aaron Judge broke into the league and became a star.
Right.
He was at the age that Juan Soto is now. Just think about that, right? And now Judge, I mean, he's been doing it for so long, but he's about to turn 34. So to see Soto doing that at 20, 25, 26, I saw him because I covered that World Series in 2019. Seeing him taking Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander, who were hands down the two best pitchers in the game in 2019, deep several times in a World Series game was something unreal. So I love to see them too. New York, whatever stadium they go, they have a good show with those two playing.
Who would you say is the best Latin player ever, or some of the best ones that you've ever? I know that's an awful loaded question.
That I've ever seen, you say?
Yeah, ever seen?
Followed.
I mean, I'm
I-
a baseball guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think as I mentioned, Albert Pujols and Roberto Clemente, those two are, I think, are the best when you talk about Latin players. But we've seen so many greats, right? With Miggy, Pedro Martinez, Johan Santana. You know, on the pitching side, Omar Vizquel as a shortstop, Pudge Rodriguez as a catcher, Yari Molina as well, Salvador Perez, Jose Altuve, Juan Soto. I mean, there are so many that you can choose. Luis Aparicio, of course, the only Venezuelan Hall of Famer. Orlando Cepeda. I mean, you name it. thankfully we'd had in Latin America so many great ambassadors of the game that we can look up to, but yeah, I would say that Albert, Miggy, Jose are among the best that I've seen.
So tell me, foreign-wise, what country produces the best MLB players?
I would say, well, I think the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, the Dominican Republic, right? They're number one, of course, after the U.S. But they are, Venezuela. We're closing the gap, which is really cool to see. But you get so many great players from Puerto Rico, from Cuba, and obviously Mexico as well. Other countries like Colombia.
Right?
Can't forget Japan, of course. Japan with Shohei, with other legends like Matsui or Ichiro, Hidenomo, whatever. But yeah, I think DR and then obviously Venezuela closing the gap.
And two more things to go. The Dodgers. I mean, can you believe what they're doing? Do you think they're going to be the class of baseball for a while, or at some point do they cut back spending?
There's a reason why we haven't had a back-to-back champ in this century, basically, and it's because it's so difficult. But I think if there's a team with talent and depth to do it, that's the Dodgers. So, yeah, I think that they're the gold standard of what an organization should be doing. Obviously, not every organization have that type of money to spend, but what they're doing in terms of player development, fan experience, how they treat their family and how they treat the players, it's something that definitely all the teams should be looking up to.
Final question. If you had to predict what Marlins player will get their number retired, do you have any guesses as to who you would be able to do? Because I think what's unfortunate, they've traded away a lot of guys a little bit too quick. But at some point, you would think to build a tradition here, Dan, that they've got to get a couple up there.
I think Giancarlo Stanton would be the one, right, that you think of. The thing is that you have many good examples of players who were part of big teams in '97 and '03, like Jeff Conine, like Miguel Cabrera, that maybe the Gary Sheffield, talented players that left a huge mark here in this organization, but didn't actually play that much, to have their number retired. But you've seen other organizations retiring numbers of players that didn't play too much with them, right? So I think Miggy with a Cooperstown case could be the one getting his number retired, and also Giancarlo as well.
Well, if there's ever a guy that knows baseball well and has marketed it well internationally, Dan, I know, in my opinion, it's always been something I want to do to bring on Fire Up Florida, let alone any show that I've had. We've been good colleagues for a long time. I met him 5 years ago during COVID-19. I've been covering the Marlins for 5 years. I can't be more thankful that we finally were able to get this thing done on Fire Up Florida. Also, just let everybody know, Dan will be featured in my next book called Lessons on the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. I'll be writing a second sequel to it probably later in the year. But Dan, to me, it's just one of those things where when I look at you as a colleague, a friend, and that's the biggest thing that's so important. And now that we're able to finally put this thing to bed, it's just, I can't thank you so much about just the friendship and having a class colleague that I've had with you. And to be able to do this, it's just unbelievable. And what can I say? Thank you so much, and let everybody know one more time a little bit what you're doing, how they can find you.
Yeah, no, Scott, very thankful for the opportunity, for the chance, for the kind words, and obviously for the support and the friendship, right? They can follow us at elextrabase.com and at elextrabase on every social media platform. So thank you so much.
I want to thank Candy Ebling also, by the way, for producing this show here. We are at Lone Depot Park. The Marlins are taking on the Athletics. Hard to believe. It really is. Right. And the fact that it was the Tampa Bay Rays for how long, I don't know, coming in soon. Doesn't matter, but as Tommy Lasorda once said, because God delays does not mean that God denies, and that's how we're going to end this broadcast on Fire Up Florida. So on behalf of Daniel Alveraz, my name is Scott Morgan, Route the Motor City Madmouth, here relocated in South Florida, covering the Miami Marlins, our Miami Marlins. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, and as well as look us up, www.southfloridatribune.com, to find other ways to follow us. Thank you very much, Dan. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.